Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inspiring You Show. If we haven't met, I'm Henry. So let's take a moment and welcome October, the month of October. Hello, October. My friends, we are going to be doing the October energy forecast, and the October energies coming in three words to describe: grounding, expansion, and also intuitive insight. So let us dig into it. As we step into October, the year's end is coming into sharp review, if you will, inviting a period of mindful reflection. The intensifying cosmic energies of last month and then into going this month are really ushering us into a gentle yet powerful momentum, if you will, guiding us forward and encouraging also deliberate movement through the remaining weeks of the year, the remaining months of the year, if you will. So, October invites a journey of a powerful transition and conscious decision making as we navigate new beginnings while letting go of the old. With a focus on trust and awareness, this month encourages us to embrace the uncertainty of change and cultivate clarity in our choices. Whew. My, oh my. So, the mindful embrace of October's energy, October is just bringing in a blend of grounding, expansive cosmic energy. So, you want to, when I tune in, I often see it also in colors and connecting into that vibrational energy frequency of colors. And so, as I was meditating, the week prior, really asking about the downloads of October coming in, it was coming in as visualizing it as deep brown hues softened by a shimmer of indigo. So the combination symbolizes rootedness, connection, brown, with a intuitive power and limitless possibilities, which is the indigo. So together they invite us to step beyond familiar routines and view the world with fresh, awakened eyes. So, as we transition into October, we're welcomed into a month filled with powerful energy, encouraging growth and transformation. So, before we explore the individual themes, just let's begin with a conscious overview. So, as I attuned to the energies of the month, it became evident that we are entering a significant period that will extend through the end of the year and carry its effects into January 2025. So this time will feel more powerful and impactful than anything we've encountered so far in 2024. And I don't know about y'all, but my 2024 has definitely been interesting. I was thinking back to January and thinking about the intention setting workshop that we did then. And the word I chose or that came to me in meditation was unstoppable. And now I understand why that word was really beneficial for me to call in the beginning of the year, because this year's cosmic energies have been something. It actually reminded me of years ago when I had work PTSD from working. I had a situation that happened when I was working in television as a documentary reality TV executive producer at the time, and it was a really difficult situation because of the work PTSD and healing the aspect of it in terms of trauma. And I was also then called to career transition, and I actually, before the word transition really came in terms of as one of the themes, I was feeling that in the last couple weeks, like there is a huge transition coming in. And I know that we talked about in the beginning of September about the transformation energy, but in terms of feeling it, I was like, wow, this feels for me as big as when I career transitioned and was healing work PTSD. And so that's my experience. Though for you, check in to see how you are in relationship to your own transformation, and what the transition might look like. It could be career, it could be something else in your life. There's a lot of elements that it could be. So with that, then, also coming into this month is really, really connecting into the energies of the beneficial aspect of strength and then also empowerment, because they can be really invigorating when embraced mindfully. However, for those who are in more delicate or vulnerable spaces, these energies can sometimes feel overwhelming And so that's where then really taking time to support yourself and utilizing your tools and support and taking time to see what your human is, checking in with your human. What does your human need? Where are you in the experience? And then using the tools that you're called to. So this month, our primary focus will be maintaining balance as everything around us shifts. It's an ongoing practice as we align ourselves with the evolving world. So the energy themes of October will help us navigate this balance, particularly if the notion of strength sometimes can feel intimidating rather than uplifting. And so before though I go into the themes, my friends, if you can take a moment to like, follow, comment, and also if you do find this to be helpful, I definitely would just love to hear, reach out, let me know. Share a comment. And also, if it calls to you to also share the content, I really appreciate it. All right, let's go through the themes. So, the first theme, inviting the mindful transition of October. And that's something then in terms of when I was meditating, the guides were just, calling in, in terms of self realization, mindfulness, using the tools, because October's energy is inviting us to reflect on the theme of transition. And so it's a sacred shift in both action and being. Transition is the movement between the old and the new, the journey of letting go and stepping forward into what we consciously choose to create. So this period then is really then asking us to embrace uncertainty, not as a disruption, but as an integral part of our growth. And then following September's focus on change in terms of transformation, October highlights the in between, the space where we leave behind outdated structures and ways of being. While it's natural in all of this, then to feel restlessness, anxiety, or impatience during such time, we're reminded that this discomfort is a sign of process are as process and progress, that we are evolving. And so our old ways no longer support us. And as they fall away, new possibilities arise. But we could be in that in between state where we're closing a chapter and moving into a new chapter, a new beginning, but we're not quite there yet. We're in the in between, which is why it's a transition state. And so we're letting go of old outdated structures and ways of being. And so, with that, in the human experience, it's natural to feel restlessness, anxiety of like, when is it going to happen? Yes, or even impatience. But yes, it's going to happen. And so that's why you have to bring in the tools to support your human in processing and being okay for being, I call it sometimes you feel like you're in that cocoon state where you feel like you're emerging from the cocoon, but you haven't quite emerged as the butterfly. You're kind of in that in between state. And so we're reminded that this discomfort is a sign of progress and evolving, and that there can be many, last month we talked about, the transformation. And so now what is then evolving and things are being cleared. And now we're moving into that process of evolving. And for some, though, it may not have fully evolved into the physical aspect of it. And that's where patience, it could be in the process of the co creation process in terms of the energy, but it may not have moved into the matter state. And that's where then, just double downing on patience, being kind and compassionate, and using your tools will support you. All right. And I share that because, again, I shared my example of, when I was working in television and I had a, 20 plus career in television. And then I was called, you know, not only did I have work PTSD, then I was working on supporting myself in healing, but also I was called to career transition at the time. So a lot of my aspects of my life were in transition. And so when this came through, I was like, "Oh, I totally on a whole nother level of my human experience, I understand it." And there can be different phases. Some people might shift completely from the old into a new and, or in one area, but in another area, it might just take a little bit longer. So just have patience. And also one of the themes is trust. So that's the next one we're going into, trust. So, trusting the process of the transformation. And so, this month's energy calls for trust in yourself, the clarity of your choices, and the greater unfolding of your life. The evolution taking place is inevitable, and resisting the flow only creates struggle. And so, trust that the decisions you make from a centered, clear space will align with your highest path, even if you cannot see the full manifestation of these changes yet. Being in transition means we haven't arrived yet, but we are on the way. So being in transition means we haven't yet arrived, but we are on the way. It's an invitation to stay present and mindful, allowing yourself to move through the period with grace rather than holding on to old patterns that no longer support in terms of your human experience, also your soul's growth in regard to having this human experience. The river of life flows forward, and your role to surrender to its current, which means trusting that it will guide you exactly where you're being called to be, which then that goes into the next theme, embracing the flow, embracing the flow of October. Friends, October invites us to embrace the nurturing energy of water, a month dedicated to flow rather than fire. The intense driving fire energy, that kind of feisty energy, may struggle to propel us forward during this time, which is why then you want to link into more of the energy flow of water. So if you find yourself pushing hard on the accelerator without like seeing results, consider easing off and allowing things to unfold naturally, reminding yourself that if this isn't working, let me lean into the flow and see what emerges. In October, the most powerful force is found in the art of flowing. For those who thrive on that kind of, fiery per se energy, this month presents a wonderful opportunity to discover strength from a new perspective. It's not a signal that something is amiss, rather than it's an invitation to harmonize with the current energies. Remember, October is about embracing flow over fire. And there can be times, in our lives where that fire is beneficial, but they're also then it's like, where am I in the experience, and can I allow myself to have a new experience to work with, that element, that nurturing energy of water, where maybe I've been working with that nurturing energy of fire. And I do holy fire reiki, which is just for me, and working with my clients is so incredibly powerful. And so I'm not saying though you're not going to work with the elements, it's just allowing yourself to open up to a new aspect. And so with that then, for those again who thrive on that fiery energy, this month is presenting a wonderful opportunity to discover strength from a new perspective. It's not a signal that something is amiss, rather it's an invitation to harmonize with the current energies. And remember, October is about embracing flow over fire. For those who typically operate with passionate intensity, this shift may feel like a refreshing pause or also a challenging adjustment. Remember, though, we're here to learn, grow, and evolve. And so, conversely, those who naturally embody the flow in terms of that energy of flow, in terms of water, may find this month to be particularly active, productive, and rewarding. So, this is a time when your unique energy can truly shine, but that doesn't mean that not everyone can shine. It's just learning these different aspects. We're here to learn, grow, and evolve. And if we've been working in regard to, working with that fiery aspect in relationship to flow, then now try working with the energy of water with flow. Okay, so the next theme then is, with that, creating space for mindful reflection and growth. The power of inner stillness. So, as we navigate the first part of the month, it is essential to establish a space that either supports our current state or encourages us to reflect what still needs to evolve. During this new moon, take the opportunity, which today is when I'm recording this and also live on social media, Today is the solar eclipse new moon, and so take some time on my Inspiring You podcast and YouTube. I do have not only a talk on it, I also have a great energy healing meditation that I when I did it, I found I was in a huge shift from it. I felt great, and I've heard from many people that it has also supported them. So, but even if you don't do the meditation that I put out there, that's okay. Just take some time to, connect, meditate, go inward, because again, this month is also calling, especially the beginning of this month, during the new moon, taking that opportunity to go inward, to reflect on what still needs to evolve or what's being called to you. So during this new moon, take the opportunity to conduct also an energetic inventory of what feels aligned and fulfilling in your life, and as well as what may no longer supporting you. So take that time to do that energetic inventory. What feels aligned, and also what is fulfilling in your life, and as well what may no longer be supporting you. So, and with that, if something isn't no longer supporting you, take time to just have that blessings of something coming to a close in your life, a chapter ending. And if you feel like you need to, do some processing in terms of loss and grief, sadness, take some time to process it and honor that experience of what you had. And then it's coming to a completion. And then also honoring stepping into a new beginning. And with this, you do want to try to approach this with as much mindfulness and with that divine neutrality, really letting go of judgment, acknowledging the necessary steps for your personal transition, recognizing that this journey is unique to each of us. Some may find themselves addressing relationships, while others are looking at personal habits or belief systems. You might be facing physical changes such as relocating or redefining how you direct your energy and resources. Whatever your focus may be, remember that you are in a state of transition. Embrace this journey as part of your growth, also allowing yourself the grace and patience to move through it and bringing in that love and kindness and compassion. Making sure to use your tools, my friends, and also letting yourself go inward. The power of inner stillness encourages us to really recognize that true strength and growth often emerge from moments of mindful reflection. In a world that's constantly demanding, action, taking time to pause and create space for inner contemplation is crucial. These moments allow us to process our experiences and to gain a deeper understanding of your personal evolution. So by dedicating, 10 to 15, 20 minutes daily to reflect, doing also, meditation, reflecting on whether recent events or past memories, you know, we open ourselves up to healing and transformation. Without this mindful pause, our minds and bodies can struggle to keep up with life's rapid pace, leaving us disconnected from our path potentially. So it's in this stillness, the power of reflection and inner stillness becomes clear, guiding us toward greater clarity and resilience. And so if you are in my Patreon, my Inspiring You Patreon, the Meditate with Me all access levels, or if you're in my paid podcast on the Inspiring You show, then we do a meditate with me intention setting and reflection workshop once a month. And I just sent out that those videos this weekend, or I think it was on Monday. So if you haven't done it yet, definitely highly recommend it, because we also did do a new moon eclipse, solar eclipse meditation for today as well. All right. So my friends, let yourself then go to, use your tools. The power of reflection and inner stillness becomes really supports you in terms of greater clarity and resilience as well. So even as the world rushes forward, insights that we gather from intentional reflection can lead to unexpected breakthroughs. In these times of profound transformation, taking moments of stillness is not just beneficial, but really essential for grounding ourselves and embracing the shifts happening in our lives as well as in the world. Also, to integrate this practice, I'm also hosting a mini Renew You retreat in Santa Monica, California on October 12th at 6 p.m. So I often get asked, when are you going to be doing live events? When are you going to be in person? Well, y'all, it is happening on October 12th in Santa Monica, California at 6 p.m. So the suggested donation is $25, and it is serving as a fundraiser for Harris Waltz. My retreat partner Christine Kwok and I really feel like we want to contribute. And for us, whew, we've had a series of conversations about being women in our society, and we really feel strongly that we would like to contribute and do our part in terms of supporting this present moment of girls and women, and also planting that seed in the future to support as well. And so we are having a fundraiser. The retreat, the yoga studio that we'll be at is amazing that they actually donated the space as well. So all the proceeds are going to go to the Harris Waltz. And this retreat, we do layer meditation modalities from Reiki energy healing, mindfulness meditation, intention setting, sound. We have a sound bath and also melt method. We do a lot of layering of modalities and tools. And it's one of my favorite things that my retreat partner and I have cultivated over the years. Before the pandemic, we used to do it monthly, and we're just so excited to be doing and offering in October. And so this retreat is really going to be a space to embody the message of mindful reflection, unlocking personal power and wisdom. And by giving yourself the time to be still, you can uncover the gold within and navigate these transformative times with deeper awareness and strength. So if you are interested in joining us, the link will be either in the show notes, or if you're listening to this on social media, it is in the link tree in the bio area under Renew You Mini Retreat. Okay, so, and also on another note, one of my dearest friends, she's this incredible jewelry designer, and she's also going to have a pop-up shop of her jewelry that all of it's going to be Reiki infused as well. And she's offering friendship bracelets that are going to be Reiki infused. And she sent me some pictures. I mean, I can't wait to to actually purchase a lot of them because they're so cute. And also with that, part of the proceeds from the sales of our jewelry will also be going to the Harris Waltz. So we're really creating a community dynamic to support in terms of really, girls and women, and planting the seeds, that everyone can have the freedom of choice. Whew. Okay, let me continue with the themes then. The next theme then, which kind of goes into what I was just talking about. Y'all, I just got to take a moment and just just do Reiki, because I just feel that in terms of people having the freedom of choice and care. Okay. The next theme, cultivating awareness in life's journey. So, one of the things that we want to do in this experience of going inward and stillness is also gently observing our thoughts, behaviors, and reactions to experiences that life presents. And remember, it's not right, wrong, good, or bad. This is an isness, and in the business and the isness, we're here to learn, grow, and evolve. And so, with that, then practicing the tools, embracing a state of neutrality, acceptance, positivity, as this mindset helps you maintain a higher vibrational frequency. And when I say positivity, I'm not talking about false positive mindset. It's really that kind of divine neutrality, that really kind of when you've shifted to a higher vibrational frequency where you just feel this incredible light coming through that brings this embrace of just this positive light moving through you, and you don't even understand how things are going to be figured out, but you just have this level of like, optimism that comes in. And so, really using the tools to support you this month even more so. And then if you're encountering any kind of feelings of judgment, negativity, or cynicism, recognizing these patterns as opportunities for growth, because they can hinder or block your ability to remain in a more elevated state of being. They could drop your vibrational frequency from a higher vibrational frequency to a lower one. And it's not right, wrong, good or bad. We're here to learn, to grow, to learn and understand and being energy alchemists. And that, I look at it as an elevator. If you've shifted down a couple floors, as soon as you notice that you've shifted down, just use the tools to support yourself in terms of, clearing and then shifting, up. Because you, as an energy alchemist, you have the ability to do so. So, with that, then, just if you are encountering any of these aspects of feelings, just let yourself use the tools to process this. And also know that, we are in a state of transition, and some more so than others. And, during these times, it can feel sometimes confusing. So even during times of confusion or uncertainty about your identity or purpose, consciously practicing gratitude and seeking out the beauty that surrounds you can really support you. So if you are in a state of feeling confused or uncertain about, life or identity or purpose, just really consciously practicing gratitude and seeking out the beauty that surrounds you. Sometimes when I'm just on a walk with my dog, I'll put my hand on a tree and I'll just have that moment of just gratitude of connecting to the tree and feeling that rootedness. So, but see what works for you. Change is a natural part of existence. And I know that even though we understand this on some level, for the human, sometimes it can feel surprising. Like, what do you mean I got to change? I'm so comfortable in this. But we're here to learn, grow, and evolve. So, working with your human to bring in compassion and help your human be okay with change is a natural part of existence. And it invites you to align your journey with the truth in your heart about what truly matters and who you are being called to become or who you wish to become. If you find yourself holding on to aspects of your past that no longer support you, take the time to consciously plan to let go, to release, doing that inner work, going inward. I also do energy work. I would do a dousing energy healing session where asking to clear anything that no longer supports, and then calling in, just groundedness, alignment, and then compassion. So, with all of this, though, no matter what tools you're using, honor the process and also remind yourself to strengthen your connection to strengthen your connection to patience, because sometimes this just requires patience where, it might take a couple days or even a couple weeks for a full shift, or some months depending on, what you're co-creating with the universe. So, sometimes shifts can happen right away. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time depending on also the divine timing. So, creating those space for what is new will invite fresh ideas, because when you do a clearing, then you have space. So, creating space for what's new will invite fresh ideas, inspiration, and supportive energies to flow into your life, enriching your experience and facilitating your growth. Okay, so the next theme, I've already alluded to it a few times, but the next theme is cultivating inner strength. So, October invites us into a season of fortifying our inner resilience, whether through self discovery or external events that push us towards new levels of personal power, like real empowerment, real co creator with the universe empowerment, the truth of who you are, the light of the truth of who you are, that real creator aspect. So, it's interesting though. The source of this strength may come, though, from circumstances that initially feel uncomfortable or unexpected. And so that's sometimes how it can happen when we're here to learn, grow, and evolve, where there could be something that feels a little bit uncomfortable, and meanwhile it really brings you into tremendous realization, and also then allows huge shifts to happen. And so as the weeks pass, these experiences will reveal how they strengthen and empower you, even if it doesn't feel that way at first. That's why the saying of don't judge a book by its cover. Same goes for here. Don't judge the situation by its cover. Don't judge the experience by its cover. Give yourself some time and space to process, and also be willing to Maybe change the lens of how you're looking at something, widen the perspective, see if there's something there for you, because maybe that experience is giving you the ability to be empowered, to speak in a way that maybe you hadn't been able to be before, or maybe bringing your wisdom. So, as the collective consciousness on the planet continues to expand, we're being called not only to access higher awareness, but also to integrate the consciousness into our physical and emotional realities. So, this season of inner strengthening is about grounding resilience, unlocking new levels of motivation. And by that, I mean really an inspiring way, not in a to doing way, but in that light beingness way. And also welcoming opportunities that may not have been visible before. So you may notice a renewed sense of purpose, or encountering life changing events, people, or relationships that bring about personal growth and empowerment. Y'all, I just have to note, as I'm doing this, there is a wave of holy fire Reiki energy coming through, and woo! It is like doing a huge, like, yeah, I mean, if you do Reiki, specifically Holy Fire Reiki, you may know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it will just go on and it's just doing a huge clearing and you heat up. And I just want to discern that from from hot flashes. If you're somebody who's gone through perimenopause or menopause, it sometimes can feel confusing, but there is a discernment between it and hot flashes. And I do know that because I did experience hot flashes. So, yeah. So, and then within it, as the Holy Fire Reiki just turned up, there was a huge wave of like peace energy came in with stillness that I felt. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that, because it's just so incredible. I love it when that energy of peace and stillness comes in. I just have so much gratitude, and I just want to take a moment to just be in appreciation of it. All right. All right, so continuing on with the theme of cultivating inner strength, really then allowing yourself, if it's calling to you, aligning with October's strength, the energy of October. October is marking a profound season of just growth and fortification in a beneficial way in regard to the energy of love and that inner strength, the truth of who you are. And it's from the energy of love, it's not from the energy of fear. It's different. And so, with that, then, and it's not from a sense of, going to protect yourself. It's not from that energy of fear. There's nothing to protect yourself from. It's really the energy of the divine, of the strength of who you are in regard to that. And so it's inviting then a renewed sense of resilience into our lives, relationships, and the work we're called to do. Yet, my friends, if this inner strength doesn't immediately arise from within, it may also manifest from external events guiding you towards the transformations that are calling to you. So just know and look out for that. And then as you reflect on your journey, think back to times when life presented unexpected challenges. And in those moments, the shifts may have felt uncomfortable or even unwelcome. Yet with time, they revealed themselves as pivotal in realigning you with your true path and purpose, or helping you to shift from something that was ending into a beginning. And so this month carries a similar energy into new beginning, situations that may arise that surprises you or redirect your course. So while these changes might seem daunting at first, they may often serve as catalysts for positive growth and deeper understanding. So let yourself embrace these moments with curiosity, patience, allowing space for reflection and acceptance. By doing so, you can recognize the significance of these shifts and the strength they bring to your journey, letting October energy guide you toward conscious transformation and resilience. And I'll just say, I mentioned it a few times in this mindful chat about this, my own journey of career transitioning, and having work PTSD at the same time, it was, at the time, even though what's interesting is for a couple years leading up to that career transition, I had been saying I was almost complete with working in television and that I would be leaving television. And I had a few, really good friends and people that I worked with. They're like, "Don't say that. We love working with you. We don't want you to leave." And I was like, "No, I'm going to be finished with working in television, for now, and I'll be, career transitioning." And so I was saying it for years, but I will say that just because you have intuitive information and you're saying something, it doesn't mean that it's not uncomfortable for the human or feeling daunting, because let me tell you, I was definitely, it felt uncomfortable at times. It felt a little bit when it actually did happen, even though I knew it was happening, I still had it felt a little bit unwelcoming. And so that's where you have to work with the human, and that's why tools are so important. You have to let yourself, okay, where am I in the experience? Okay, you're in the in between. This doesn't feel so great. I know you built up a 20 plus year career, and you're like, what is happening? I'm going through a midlife career transition. This is not what I thought. But even though I had the intuitive information, what? And so I had to really process that. And I was healing work PTSD at the time. So I had a lot of transitions I was working through. And so that's why I talk about tools so much, because it was the tools that really supported me, along with my higher self soul and my guide team, just coming in and helping me time and time again, helping me, just stay steady, even though I didn't understand quite where I was going. Which, it's interesting because in your 20s, when I was going into my career, I had a knowingness, but I didn't quite know per se, where I was going. I just had a really strong knowingness that, I was, called to work in television, and so, but as I age, I had to really release any kind of any kind of fear, anything that was blocking me from being in that knowingness of the truth of I was exactly where I need for the highest good. And even if I couldn't quite see the path yet, I had to trust that I was exactly where I needed to be, and that the doors were going to open and the opportunities were going to come. Even if I didn't understand how they were going to come, I had to really surrender, and all the things that some of these themes have talked about already, trust the process, and use the tools again and again to help me stay grounded and aligned, and also in that kind of optimistic space to let myself receive the opportunities for the highest good, even if I didn't quite understand like what that meant. So, with that, then it's about embracing these moments with curiosity, patience, allowing space for reflection and acceptance, that acceptance of like, this is where I am. Also, those set intentions, what are your intentions? And then trusting, strengthening your connection to trust, strengthening your connection to patience. So that's where strengthening comes in as well. And so by doing all of this, you can also recognize the significance of these shifts and the strength they bring to your journey. So then letting October's energy guide you toward conscious transformation and resilience. So then the next theme is authenticity creates transformation. So authenticity with ourselves and with others is a cornerstone of this transformation. It's not just about speaking your truth, but also having the courage to be authentic about things you might have previously avoided. This might be due to fear, lack of opportunity, or being taught to suppress authenticity. And I'll also say, like, when I look at fear, I look at also as an energy practitioner, I look at fear could also be really connected to, the false aspect or the matrix, if you will, because it's really when you're in the higher vibrational frequency and the energy of love, fear doesn't necessarily like exist in that space. And so there's many aspects that you can look at. And so with this then, with authenticity, it's really checking in to see where you are now. and seeing if there's anything that needs to be called to be cleared. And so that's really equally important in receiving authenticity. Embracing the authenticity of others can be just as as I'm saying this, I feel stuff coming up because I'm doing lives. So I'm just going to ask right now. I'm going to ask that Reiki is sent to anybody who has any kind of fear in their throat chakra, or if anything's coming up for anybody in their chakra system or anywhere regarding to what we're speaking about, asking that fear is cleared, asking that Reiki is sent. And if you wish to receive Reiki, say, yes, I'd like to receive Reiki for my highest good. Okay. Whew. Give gratitude for that. There was a shift. Whew. All right. This is in being an energy, being an energy practitioner, somebody who's highly aware of energies. That is how, like, sometimes it can happen. And so part of my own authentic transformation is really also just being, this is what it can look like. And so I am live. I'm live streaming, yet when I post this on my podcast, I'm not going to edit this because I think it's really important that we showcase um, how how we utilize the tools and how also energy can change. And so one moment before, I was talking about how I really felt that incredible stillness, that peace energy. And then as we came into this theme, I could feel, in people watching the live streams, I could feel things coming up in the throat chakra, in the solar plexus. And so then taking a moment, to ask that Reiki ascend and asking if anybody wishes to receive Reiki for the highest good. And then you as an empowered co-creator, you call to you what you want. So saying, yes, I'd like to receive Reiki for my highest good. And then also knowing, y'all, I'm recording this, I'm live streaming on the new moon, uh, the solar eclipse, which is also about transformation, right? A lot of clearings probably happening. So, okay, going back then, authenticity creates transformation. So, authenticity with ourselves and with others is a cornerstone of this transformation. It's not just about speaking their truth, but it's also about having the courage to be authentic about things you might have previously avoided. So, case in point for me, I might have previously tried to avoid doing a live demonstration of being an energy practitioner. Yet now I'm like, y'all, here it is. Here it is. And so that's then the authenticity of it. And that's also my own growth point in my human, where I now feel like I'm in a space of safety where I can share. And whereas years ago, I may have, been hiding out and, and learning how to do things, but it was more from behind the scenes. And so now I'm okay where I am and I'm in an authenticity where I can share in a greater way, live streaming while also recording, which, by the way, y'all, I have not shared with some of you that years ago, I was actually really, really terrified of public speaking. Terrified. And when I went to college, my guides started working with me on, okay, we want you to take a public speaking class and take some acting classes. And I was like, what? I want to be behind the camera, behind the camera. And so they gently nudged me, and my first public speaking class, when I got up there to say the speech, y'all, 2 minutes in, I ran out of the class. I was like terrified and hyperventilating. And, eventually years later, I worked through even more so. I worked through clearing some past lives on situations from the past where things happened when I spoke out in public, and so I had to work on all kinds of things in terms of the clearing. And then also, though, in helping my human, being able to really strengthen the ability for communication and be okay in these experiences. When I moved from Massachusetts to California, I was working in television, in documentary shows, reality TV shows. And while I also did that, I took several years of classes working in acting, and it was really terrifying for me at first. Yet my guides really encouraged me to continue doing it. And now, all these years later, I really understand why. Because for this moment now, all these different skills that I was guided to learn to support me clearing aspects from past lives or even generational trauma or even something from the collective, all these skills now are, come together and I'm able to be in this experience. But I would have, if I hadn't, followed that guidance, even though not really knowing why, like you think on paper, why, but do you really know you know, until more information is shown for you. And so as I'm talking about authenticity creates transformation, I can see several story dots in I call them story dots because when I worked in television, I was always looking at like, how do the story dots connect and line up? What is first of all, I'd look at like, what is the heartbeat of the story? And then what are the story dots connected to the heartbeat of the story that the story is trying to tell you? And so I also do that in my own reflection work. Like, okay, where am I in the experience? What is the heartbeat of the story? What are the story dots that are lining up to light up to show you what's happening in the experience? And so for you, check in to see where are you in your authenticity in terms of creating transformation. And then also, it's equally important is receiving authenticity. Embracing the authenticity of others can be also sometimes just as challenging, especially when it comes to feedback. So this dynamic requires courage on both sides, the courage to be authentic and the courage to receive and reflect on the truths others share with you. I will say that though, there's a caveat I want to say on this, because I think sometimes people can be in an experience where they're like, can say like, I'm just, I'm being honest. And it's like, okay, are you being unfiltered and saying like, I'm being unfiltered? And is that out of a space of compassion, or is it out of a space of like your own projection? And you wanna just check in to see, because there is a discernment in all of this. And there's also a discernment in terms of telling truths, where a lot of times, like with psychic information and things like that, I might get information, but the guides are saying, that's just for you to be able to hold space for that person. It's not for the person, might not be ready for the information, or it just might not be they just might not need the information. And so that's where then using the tools to be like reflection of like what really is needed in this point, and working on then communication from a space of mindfulness and nonviolent communication. And also, I will say, from a space of, if being okay with, if someone tells you that, something has been shared they feel they feel discouraged with, or they took it in a way that that just didn't feel that great. Being okay with listening to someone and saying, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that if I said something, that it may have like caused discouragement. Because the thing is, to really learn, grow, and evolve, we have to be willing to be in a space of truly sitting with each other and hearing each other, and not trying to be like, I had this information and I'm right. It's not about right, wrong, good or bad. It's about the business of the isness. And can we sit with one another and hold space for one another, and recognizing that we're all here to learn, grow, and evolve, and be in that compassionate, mindfulness, love, and kindness space with one another. So, with all of this, then, there is also this generational, going back to authenticity creates transformation theme. This generational shift towards greater authenticity seeks a broader, more global impact as well. When a theme like this emerges with such intensity, it's more than just a personal challenge, it's a societal shift. And October is posing to be an incredible revelation month with that. And I'll also say with authenticity, I feel authenticity opens up the door in regard to the heart, in regard to the greater aspect of the higher vibrational frequencies of shifting into enlightenment and shifting into really when you're looking at shifting from, if you say like from 3D to 5D or higher, you're shifting to the higher dimensional consciousness space, the higher vibrational frequencies. I look at authenticity as it opens the door where you're really surrendering and you're coming into the space of, you know, maybe you don't know how things are going to be solved, but you're really being authentic with where you are and what you are being called to, possibly walk in the path. And so one of the things for me, I shared that experience about how, I was terrified of public speaking and now here I am. And then it's been a lot though for me to do my podcast, to go onto YouTube, and by a lot, I mean in my humaning. It's been effortless though. Like I love content creation. I've always loved television and film. I've always loved documentaries. I've always loved, this aspect. That's why I loved working in television. I loved sharing inspiring stories. I loved all that work. Yet I had past life things and some other aspects of like generational trauma and some other things that were being called for me to understand in my human experience and then also calling to clear and shift. And so now, though, in my authenticity of creating transformation, I'm in a bigger space where I realized, just this month, actually, no, not just this month. I realized at the end of July, going into August, that I have some ways kept myself um, being able to experience community in a safe way, but not necessarily allowing myself to grow. And so I've kind of been tiptoeing my way back into community. And because my human experience, I've had several moments where, I had that experience of having experienced trauma on a set when I worked in television and seeing all these people crying and being really affected by it in terms of the trauma. And then also myself disassociating and having work PTSD. And so even though I love community, there has been some PTSD that I've had to clear in relationship to community. And also then when I did a 2-year mindfulness teacher certification program, there are so many elements of the program that I really loved, and the coursework, I loved it. And I also, the people teaching it, I really respect them and have, done so many courses in regard to the work that they do. And I've learned so much from them. But yet there's an element in my experience of being in a smaller group that there was some trauma where I was bullied for being different. And my being different is being an energy practitioner and using different language that some of them you know, just weren't used to. And they just weren't comfortable with some of the language. And so, like using the word, vibration or energy or universe, or me talking about being an energy practitioner, they really were, a few of them asked me not to use words or talk about being an energy practitioner. And it was a very difficult experience for me. And also, it's interesting because at the same time, we were going through 6 months of um, diversity training in regard to learning how to invite everybody to the table. And so it was a very interesting dynamic I was in. And it was also a very painful one for my human because I felt like I was being excluded from the group, from being able to really share and be authentic, that I had to show up in a way that they wanted, like, that a few people wanted me to, and that other side of me, not even other side of me, it's what I do for a living, what I do for my life, that I had to suppress it because it was making them feel uncomfortable. And it was a and meanwhile, there were other people in our small group where, one was a therapist, one was a yoga teacher, one was a real estate agent, and they could talk about their work as freely as they wanted to. But in terms of me talking about what I do, I was being asked to suppress it, and I felt oppressed, repressed, depressed, and it was a traumatizing experience. But also felt like I was being gaslighted and bullied. And what was interesting, though, about the experience is that it actually showed me, in a lot of ways, kind of where we are in society, how that you can be in a group where everybody's talking about how great it is to be in a like-minded group. Yet, if you are in any aspect different than the like-mindedness, then you could possibly be ousted. And so I had so much compassion for all of us, and I recognized this is part of the cultural conditioning that has been created, where we're getting caught in false matrices. It could be like the patriarchy of, everyone, that needing everybody to be just like me, for me to be okay to be in that group with them. And it comes from the cultural conditioning, from societal conditioning. It comes from, if you want to call it, the matrix, the false matrix, the patriarchy. And so I really saw call it old earth. I really saw how that it was more so old earth, and that it's not right, wrong, good or bad, that there's an isness. And I saw then this is really the greater work here to do on earth, that we have to start learning how to come together as groups, clearing out the division, and really being able to meet each other halfway, and being okay with that. Hey, we might have some things in common, yet we may not have everything in common. And can I be okay with, if there's some things that I don't understand how you live your life, can I come with it with curiosity? Can I come with it with mindfulness? And letting go of the judgment, or letting go of, like, I know better. I know better how you should live your life, which is why, in some ways, Christine, my retreat partner, and I are doing that Renew You retreat, because it is about the freedom of choice for women, the freedom of choice for girls. It's having that freedom of choice, of being able to say, like, this is how I feel, and this is my body, and I want the freedom to have that choice in terms of my care, and how I'm moving through the world. And so, coming back then to authenticity creates transformation, looking back at that experience I had in my 2-year mindfulness teacher training program, even though it was really hard, I'm so grateful that I had the experience, because it gave me the awareness of what is happening at times on earth. And it also made me see just different aspects of, like, okay, how can I use the tools through this? And so I use the tools of mindfulness. I use the tools of, showing up. Can I stay grounded? Can I stay aligned? Can I stay in the energy of grace? Can I stay in the light in me sees the light in you? Can I also, with my human, recognize, let me process any kind of hurt, sadness. Let me process the feeling of the gaslighting. Let me process, the feeling of being bullied. But also, what that did for me, that experience, is it strengthened my ability for empowerment, and out of the space of compassion, loving kindness, and care and mindfulness. I will say, though, because it was just a couple years ago, I have created a safe space in regard to community, and I did not realize that until the end of July when the guides were asking me to step out in a greater way with community, and I was like, "What do you mean? I'm already live streaming. You asked me to start doing that, I'm doing that." And they're like, "No," and they asked me, to step out in a different way, and I was like, "Whoa." And I realized that there were 2 experiences. Actually, there were 3 experiences. One was I didn't realize that I was tiptoeing into community from these several actually, there was, like, maybe 4 experiences, um, that I had to work on transforming and transmuting and clearing, and I had been keeping myself self safe and tiptoeing into community, and I'm sharing this because I am in my space of authenticity of creating transformation. And also, one of the things that you may hear me saying lately is I've been asking people to, like, share, subscribe, comment. And whereas in the past, so many of my episodes, it wasn't even like a thought on my mind. And because I was keeping it in a safe bubble, because of some of the past experiences that I had to get used to safety within community again. And I also had to, in my experience, redefine what community means to me. And now what it means to me is that, can we have a willingness to come to the table and understand that we may have aspects that are common, we may have like-mindedness that is this similar, yet also we might have differences. And I wanna be able to be okay with, can we use our tools to be curious about, like, allowing people to be different and yet still be at the table, and know that it is completely okay and that we can also still learn, grow, and evolve with one another, and we can still have what we like, and it doesn't mean someone else can have what they like, and it doesn't take anything away from us or our experience to allow another person to have space with who they are wanting to be or create. And so that is like this theme of authenticity creates transformation. That is really, for me, what it really is like I've been exploring and understanding. So I share my example because I hope that, maybe it could support you in kind of like finding something in your own life and inspire you to, oh wait, I have an example in my own life. And so check in to see and take that time to reflect. Because then within all of this, as I just mentioned before I gave that example, this generational shift towards greater authenticity is suggesting a broader, more global impact. And so when a theme like this is emerging, not just individual, but collective, there is a force more so in intensity. And it's more than just a personal challenge, it is a societal shift, which is what I gave you from the example of my experiences. That is what I saw a couple years ago in my mindfulness teacher program, was like, wow, this is what's being called to be cleared. And now all these years later, we have an energy theme coming in to help us shift and clear it. So that is also where you might be getting psychic information and understanding like, oh, this is being called to be clear, but it can, because we're in physical aspect, it can take years. And it also might be that you are being prepped to support in your experience of what you do, and you're being in training to do it. And so I feel like all these years since my mindfulness teacher certification program, I feel like in some year I've been in training in some ways for this moment in terms of the greater purpose. Um, okay, so with that, then, you might notice a deeper personal authenticity emerging in also your interactions. And it's not just about grand revelations, but it's really the everyday truths that shape how we relate to one another. So, again, as you navigate this month, expect authenticity to spark transformations in your life, work, relationships. And it might be the moment you're ready to express something profound, leading to significant shifts. I will also say, too, sometimes people look at like, authenticity or sharing from the heart, that you're going to share this, like, this story of X, Y, and Z happened to me. And meanwhile, the authentic sharing from the heart could also be somebody sharing a tool that really helped them through something. And are you okay with that, how they're sharing, if it doesn't relate to how you think sharing could happen? Are you okay with that? And can you then accept that different things mean different things to people in terms of the heart? And also then not project, what you think authentic sharing is. So, and then also often we associate authenticity with, sometimes people think authenticity could be disruption or even destruction. But remember that these can be integral parts of transformation. And I'll say that, when I was working in reality TV as a producer, you do a lot of interviews where somebody sits in the interview seat. And so a person would sit in the interview seat, and, the first sometimes 10 minutes, if the person is nervous, if they are, you know, whatever's going on, they could be talking about things for 10 minutes that have nothing to do with what you're interviewing them about. You could ask them a question and they could completely share something else. And so sometimes people I would look at it as they got to get their yayas out, where they're just getting their yayas out. And there'd be sometimes a few times where I could hear, the camera person or someone else in the crew go, like, can't we get to the point of the interview where this interview is going to take forever? And that's where you just have to have patience, because it's somebody is just moving through the experience. And so if the crew would be like, they're associating authenticity of this person getting their yayas out with disruption, because we're not getting to the point of the interview, or we're not going to get what we need, or we're going to be late in our day, or whatever it is. But authenticity, it's like creation aspect, where there can be a messiness part of it. And so just make sure that however you're looking at authenticity, that you might need to take the lens off of it to widen your view. Because remember, these can be integral parts of transformation. Also, there could be a fear of authenticity, whether it's giving or receiving it, and that can be intense. However, authenticity is an incredible, powerful, transformative agent, because it really connects you in terms of the heart, and really opens up doors. So open up doors for opportunities in terms of the greater truth of who you are, and then also supporting yourself in terms of shifting to receive those opportunities. So pay attention to how this theme is playing out in your month this month. And also, if you find yourself on the receiving end of authenticity, challenge yourself to grow and from it. Can you listen and accept it without immediate defense, doubt, or emotional reaction? And this October, this cosmic energy is really encouraging us to embrace this authenticity wholeheartedly. So let it unfold. And I'll say that though, with discernment in terms of regarding, can you listen and accept without immediate defense? You do want to take moments of like pausing. And then if you will find yourself in an experience where, oh, this is limiting my freedom somehow, or I feel like an element of being gaslit here, or, oh, this doesn't feel good, you want to trust that, and then use your mindfulness tools and your healthy mindfulness communication tools to communicate in terms of healthy boundaries and what it is that, you possibly need. Or if something has, you know if you're feeling a bit wobbly on somebody has shared, reach out and have a conversation from heart to heart, so that way you both can transform and transmute and evolve and grow. Be willing to be courageous to reach out and have the conversation, and using mindfulness, loving kindness, and compassion, and also focusing on, when you're sharing, from your perspective. And also, being aware of not to project, because if you're projecting, that could be creating a protective aspect for you to not be accountable in half the relationship. Um, so that's where if you read, I recommend the book, The Four Agreements, and also The Mastery of Love is, that's also another really great book to read to really understand also how in relationships, you know, I think I heard it somewhere where if you look at it like a basketball court, one person has one side of the court, the other one has the other side. And if somebody comes onto your court and then you work with them to say, okay, hey, let's talk about healthy boundaries. And then also though you're each responsible for cleaning up your side of the court. Um, and working on that. And also mindful communication tools can be really supportive as well. The book Say What You Mean is another book that is really been helpful to me. Okay, so that theme then is the authenticity creates transformation. The next theme is consciously co-creating the future. So, though the future hasn't fully manifested, it is a co-creation, and yet you'll begin to notice glimpses of alignment as you lean into the clarity of your choices and your willingness to embrace change. So, take note of your behavior and reactions shaping your experience. What feels expansive and where are you still holding back? And so begin to take note of story dots that will begin to emerge based on your clarity of choice and your willingness to accept and embrace those guiding moments. And I will say, y'all, I am recording this and live streaming it, but I'm on Instagram live streaming it, and one of my dear friends just popped on, and I just want to say hello to him and tell him it's nice to see you here. I love you, my friend. Thank you for joining. I don't know how long you'll stay, but I just wanted to acknowledge you, my friend. Okay, so these story dots, and see, y'all, this is me in being my authentic self where I am. This is it. We are in this experience. Okay, so this theme, though, consciously co creating the future. These story dots may signal the need to release something old or encourage you to move towards something new. And October's transition energy is about planting the seeds for the person you wish to become. By staying present with your process and flowing with life's changes, you can align with the highest version of yourself, trusting that every step forward is part of your conscious evolution. So then the next theme is aligning with October's strength, a conscious perspective. October marks a profound season of growth and fortification, inviting that renewed sense of resilience, right? And so, really then that renewed sense of resilience into our lives, relationships, and the work we're called to do. So if this inner strength, again, isn't immediately arising from within, as I mentioned earlier, it may manifest from external events guiding you towards necessary transformations. So, really letting yourself align with October's strength and letting yourself really, utilize your tools to support you moving through this, and also really shifting into curiosity, patience. I know I mentioned this before, but the guys just wanted to bring it through again. Also, and probably because too, people are kind of coming going on the live streaming, and it might just been for information for them. The next theme is nurturing physical health and well-being. Okay, so in our journey through October, we find ourselves focusing on physical healing as many navigate health challenges. Well, some of these issues are a natural part of life. I mean, y'all, when I went through perimenopause and then into menopause, hello. And also if you are going through perimenopause and menopause, I have books that I would recommend. So if you need some support, please message me and I will send you the books that really supported me. And also, I follow a newsletter on Substack that is very supportive as well in terms of women's health. That helps me in terms of some of the choices and understanding what's out there. Okay, so while some of these issues are a natural part of life, a significant contributor could be toxins and pollutants in our environment. So it is our collective responsibility, spanning generations, to confront and address these concerns. For those currently experiencing health difficulties, making substantial lifestyle changes may be necessary. And so, I definitely have my own experiences with some of this, and I have friends who are on this path, and I just have so much compassion with how debilitating it can feel to your sense of well-being and vitality during these times. Also, working with that, health, that growth-wise mindset, maintaining a positive, optimistic, balanced mindset. That divine neutrality can really be incredibly challenging at times. I understand this, but also it can really support you through some of those difficult times. So I have my an aunt that I'm really close to has had cancer several times, and I've asked her, what do you think has been the driving force in terms of you, healing and moving through the experiences? And she's like, my mindset, positive mindset, absolutely. And so I know, though, it can be really difficult at times and challenging, and that's where, though, practicing the tools can really support you. And also, it's common to reflect on how you arrived at this point, yet it's also essential to recognize that our ways of living, eating, and exercising must evolve for our health. I'm currently reading, I've been reading a lot of gut health books over the last, like, I don't know, years. And I'm now, the last couple years, I've also been reading a lot about metabolic health. And I'm reading a book right now on metabolic health, called, I think it's called Good Energy. And she explains that she's a doctor that has really shifted in a lot of ways in terms of how she perceives things, but the way she writes the book, very easy to understand, and I find it to be really helpful. So I just, empower yourself in terms of learning, growing, and evolving, and be curious about, like, what can support you. Many individuals, though, are paving this way for transformation in terms of evolving, living, eating, and exercising. You have to find what works for you, though. And it's also not just for themselves, but also it could be then the greater good for the community. So if you are dealing with this lifestyle related health issues, it may feel overwhelming, but stabilizing these changes often lead to positive outcomes. By prioritizing physical healing, you contribute a new paradigm of living that values health and well being. This theme of nurturing physical healing also holds significant importance and will be enlightening to witness its effects on both a personal and collective scale. All right, we're almost done with the themes, my friends. The next theme is embracing energetic visions and future possibilities. So in this transformative time, many are experiencing visions, energetic glimpses of future timelines. We are essentially trying on potential manifestations before they materialize in our realities. So this process differs from past experiences and can be profoundly powerful as also, information psychic phenomenon. So to illustrate, imagine this, 2 years ago, you may have set a goal perhaps to travel to a new country, immersing yourself in its culture, giving yourself a specific time frame to achieve it. Today, however, you might find yourself having vivid visions of exploring those vibrant streets, tasting new foods, connecting with locals, fully embodying the experiences of adventure and discovery. This exploration can lead to two potential outcomes. Firstly, it may accelerate the manifestation process by energetically journeying into a future where you've traveled to the destination and bringing the experience back to the present. You bridge the gap between you now and your aspirations, allowing for a smoother transition. Here's that transition word again. Alternately, simply trying on this vision might be enough. You might discover that the thrill of adventure inspires you to seek new experiences in your current environment, even if you choose not to travel far. So that's where then you realize that there's just different opportunities and options. So as our consciousness evolves and shifts, old generational patterns we encounter energetic experiences that may have previously compelled us to fully manifest our desires. So today we often find that experiencing them energetically suffices. So you could do a meditation. So say if you're really wanting to travel, you have this, like, I really want to travel, but yet I don't know how it's going to work. And then you do a meditation where you energetically connect to that space you want to travel to. And you're like, oh my God, that feels so amazing. I smell the city. I feel the taste, the food. Oh my God, this is so incredible. Energetically, it may have sufficed just to do that meditation. And you feel like, oh, that was amazing. And then all of a sudden you decide you don't have that urge to travel there anymore, but you just want to go down to, I don't know, somewhere down the street and go experience some sort of event there, and that fills your bucket up. And so, because again, everything is energy, right? And so we're really shifting into that expansive aspect of being energy alchemists and also understanding the psychic phenomenon and also the energetic experiences. And so letting yourself then allowing your abilities to expand. It could be your telepathic abilities, it could be all kinds of different abilities with your psychic abilities could be expanding. And so know then, you know, just let yourself, if this is happening to you, be curious and also savor these encounters if they're new to you. For those familiar with this phenomenon, preparing for the pace to quicken. So it's going to get faster. So then also going back to that stillness of the reflection, in quiet reflection, you may discover an invigorating activation of energy around you as well. So those are some of the things from the energy points that could be happening. Okay, now we only have a couple more themes. The next theme, navigating global power transformations. Y'all, we are currently navigating significant changes in the status and dynamics between countries and what is going on in the world. While I may not have more to add, it's just important to acknowledge these shifts as many of you are likely observing them as well. It's evident that the transformations are occurring on a global scale, mirroring the interchanges we are experiencing possibly as well. So, though we often focus on visible reports regarding global power structures, much more is happening behind the scenes, stirring profound changes. The upcoming months promise to be captivating as we begin to see tangible shifts in international dynamics, often manifesting in unexpected ways. So, remain mindful and attentive as these developments unfold. All right, the final theme of this month. This month is a big month, y'all. Whew, final theme, collective patience and inner presence. In these transformative times, there may be a collective group being called to embrace patience and stepping back. For some, this means stepping back from the frenetic pace of life to cultivate a quieter, more reflective existence while awaiting significant shifts. So, you see how we started with the theme earlier of the inner stillness, and now we're closing with it. That is how important this theme is. So for some, it might mean stepping back from the frenetic pace to cultivate a quieter, more reflective existence while awaiting the significant shifts. Others might feel the exhaustion of recent events, yearning for stability and calm rather than personal upheaval. So if you belong to this group, it is vital to acknowledge the shared desires for progress while also allowing space for patience. Collective patience encourages everyone to stay engaged with their inner world, recognizing that while external changes may be slow, profound inner growth is still taking place. This time of waiting is not about stagnation. It is about an opportunity to reflect, connect with one another, and nurture our evolving selves together. So, as you navigate this period, remember you're not alone in this journey. Patience can be a shared practice that strengthens our individual and our collective resolve for the highest good. And with that, my friends, that is all the themes. Woo! All right. So, a couple things. One, I have a ton of live classes I'm going to be doing, and then they're also going to be available on replay. That will be on my Inspiring You Patreon, the Meditate with Me in all access levels. The difference is Meditate with Me is Reiki energy healing meditations and practices like that, mindfulness. And then the all access is dowsing energy healing with Reiki and mindfulness. That is the difference in them. The all access, obviously, you have access to all the meditate with me as well as anything else that is underneath that level. So that link is, if you're on social media, that link is in my link tree under the Inspiring You Patreon. And then also, I do have on October 12th, the Renew You mini retreat in Santa Monica, California. The Renew You, it is the suggested donation is $25. That is also in my link tree. I will put also the links in my show notes. All in my Inspiring You paid podcast, I do have There are replays available from my live classes. I do the dowsing one, the dowsing energy of the month one, as well as usually one or two other replay classes are put on there as well. So you can become a paid member there if you wish to, or if you just wish to support the content, or just you are receiving a lot of information that you find helpful on my Inspiring You Patreon. You can support the podcast. It's $5 to support the podcast a month if you wish to, because it does take a lot of time to put all of these elements, to meditate, put them all together, and then to also do the content. No matter what, I just appreciate you here in the community. And I'm just so grateful for being part of this journey with all of you. So before I go, I always like to delink. So you can say this as well if it resonates to you. I asked to break the links with this mindful chat. I asked to break the links. I asked to break the Reiki links, leaving only harmony and balance at either ends. I asked to clear any residual energies being held in my body as a result of these links. I asked the light to fill all the void cells, rejuvenates, refreshes, revives for my highest good with ease and grace. And so it is. And that is it for now, my friends. Much, much love. May peace be with you. Have a